Welcome to the StarGazer podcast.
Hi, I'm Sid.
I'm Monty, and thank fuck that's over with.
2020 was a mess.
Absolute nightmare. Complete garbage. Dog shit. Hated it. Hope it burns in a fire.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely gonna be an interesting story to tell both the next generation and the generation after when we're old people.
Yeah.
Old as shit.
Old people. Old decrepit morons.
Like, damn.
Yeah. If you're here, you're probably wondering what we are. That's a great tangent. We're just here.
Starting a company.
We're just starting a company. We're just doing stuff. We're going to be doing this podcast every Friday at 1 at noon Central. And we're also doing music, which will be
fully released at the end of the year.
Yeah, fully released at the end of the year, and teasers at the end of every month.
Yes.
For lack of a better term.
We're starting out, so the things are a little janky. Forgive us.
Things are just a crappy mic and an old computer.
Again, things are a bit janky.
Yeah, but
we're a couple of college kids starting a company. This is it's okay.
But
it's a thing.
Yeah, normally the podcast is going to cover like news of the week and then just go over what we've been doing so far and stuff that's been going on.
And just like random tangents and shit.
But for now, today,
on
the new year,
the recap.
We recap everything
mess.
That's the mess.
That is this past year.
We will be heavily referencing the Wikipedia page for MMXX, otherwise known as 2020, which I'd like to point out.
As most people will tell you, Wikipedia is not accurate a lot of times.
Not often accurate. It's been getting better, but I'd like to
take everything with a grain of salt.
Quote, 2020 was heavily defined by the COVID-19 pandemic, which led to global social and economic disruption, mass cancellations and postponements of events, worldwide lockdowns, and the largest economic recession since the Great Depression of the 1930s. Everything is fine.
Everything is on fire.
Everything is fine.
Everything is burning.
It's perfectly okay. So, starting
right off with
January 1st of last year.
The Australian fires. Jesus Christ.
Also known as Black Summer. Killed as many 500 million animals. Wow.
The fact that we started this year off with Australia on fire.
On fire.
It was on fire.
It was turning Australia into a charred wasteland. Even for Australians. That's a joke. Laugh, please.
God. You're a mess. Oh, and then we go to January 3rd, 2 days later.
Persian Gulf crisis again.
A drone strike from the U.S. on Baghdad.
Yep.
Oh my God.
That was Soleimani. Qasem Soleimani, boom, dead.
Why?
That was fun.
Why did we let an orange Cheeto in office?
Yeah.
And think it would be a good idea?
I don't know. No one wants to eat a piece of rotten Cheeto. Also, like, 3 days in, and then everyone's like, oh no, World War III. They didn't know. It's January 3rd. No one knew what was no one had 2020 vision.
No one had. No, the 2020 vision jokes were probably the reason the year was as bad as it was.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
All right, January 5th. The Second Libyan Civil War.
Libyan. Turkish president announces the Turkish troops will be deployed in Libya on behalf of the United Nations, backed by the government of the National Accord.
January 8th, 2 more Persian Gulf crisis thing. Iran launches ballistic missiles, United Aircrane, and United Aircrane.
The Ukrainian International Airlines Flight 752 or 752 was mistakenly shot down.
Oof.
Yep, killing
170.
This is the first major death we have in 2020. Is 172 people were on board that were killed. And then
the next day, a rare... Ooh, this is pretty cool. Science.
Planet. A new planet was discovered.
Circumbinary planet, TOI 1338-B. Circumbinary means, I think it means it revolves around 2 stars instead of 1.
Oh god,
I think
something like that.
Circumbinary.
I'm not remembering.
Yeah, it is 2 stars. It rotates around 2 stars.
Yeah. Also, to reiterate, just in case it sounds like we're making light of the situation, we're not. We're just trying to wrap our heads around what the fuck this year was.
Yeah, this was a nightmare of a year. Everyone had their own problems. We're not saying ours are bigger than anyone else's. We're just going over everything that's gone complete haywire.
Completely wrong.
And
to those of you that have... Well, to those of you that have lost people in or due to Corona, it's terrible. Like, the pandemic is still going on.
Yeah.
And it's complete and utter horse shit.
It's a great new year, but nothing is that's not just gonna drop because of the new year.
Yeah.
So continue staying safe.
Because you stay safe, we will definitely talk about COVID when it actually comes up. But as of right now, we're still in January.
Yeah.
So, let's get through the mess.
We have no idea how terrible this year is going to be so far.
None!
Anyway,
we've just...
new Sultan of Oman, Qaboos bin Said, dies at age 79. And, oh god, I'm sorry if I'm butchering these names. Haytham bin Tariq is sworn in as his successor.
And then on January 16th, the imperial trial for the president of the U.S. The impeachment
trial.
I misread that.
Yeah. Impeachment
trial for the president of the U.S., Donald Trump, why? Begins in the U.S. Senate. He was acquitted February 5th. Why was he acquitted? Yemen Civil War.
111 Yemeni soldiers and 5 civilians are killed in a drone and missile attack on the military camp near Marib. I assume that's Marib.
I think that's how that's pronounced. I'm not sure.
29th.
U.S. President Donald Trump, I hate saying that, signs the United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, North American Trade Agreement, set to replace NAFTA, which didn't work. And here's where COVID starts.
Yep. January 30th, World Health Organization declares the outbreak of the disease as a public health emergency of international concern. The 6th time in history that it has ever been... Oh, I'm just kidding. 6th time since 2009 that that power has been used. And then January 31st...
The United Kingdom and
Gibraltar.
Thank you. Formally withdraw from the European Union and begin an 11th month transitional period.
Which ended yesterday.
Jesus.
February 5th, President Donald Trump acquitted by the Senate on both Article 1, 45, 52, 45 yes and 52 no, and Article 2, 47 yes and 53 no of impeachment.
And then February 11th, COVID-19 pandemic. The World Health Organization names the disease COVID-19.
Coronavirus disease discovered in 2019. It was not the 19th iteration of the disease. It was the year it was discovered. And no, 5G does not cause it.
I hate... why do people think that?
Probably because it's like, hey, a new thing and also a bad thing. Put them together. Correlation does equal causation.
No, it doesn't.
Don't quote me on that because it's not true.
Ay.
February 13th, NASA more science stuff.
Publishes a
detailed study of Arakoth, the most distant body ever explored by a spacecraft, which New Horizons passed by on its journey through the Kuiper Belt.
Nice.
Speaking of New Horizons, Animal Crossing. Just kidding, that's in April.
My God. February 24th, the Pakistani Harapara. Again, if we mispronounce these, we're sorry. Coalition government of Malaysia collapses.
Oof. Replaced by the Pakistan National Coalition.
On March 1st.
It's sworn as the Prime Minister of Malaysia. Okay.
Okay, then...
February 27th, the 2020 stock market crash. The Dow drops 1,190.95 points, or 4.4%, and its largest one-day point decline at the time. This follows several days of large falls, making the worst week for the index since 2008. Yeah, the housing market crash, and triggered the fears of spreading COVID-19.
On February 28th, the Syrian Civil War. Ambassadors of all 29 NATO allies meet in the North Atlantic Council to express solidarity with Turkey after 33 Turkish soldiers were killed in an airstrike by pro-Syrian government forces.
And end of February, Luxembourg becomes the first country in the world to make all public transport free to use. That's pretty cool, but relatively uneventful. Luxembourg's just pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then a conditional peace agreement signed between the U.S. and the Taliban in Doha, Qatar, leading the U.S. to begin gradually withdrawing troops from Afghanistan on March 10th.
Wait, it's 2021, and this is the end of February, and we're only now taking out troops from Afghanistan?
No, that was on March 10th.
No, that's what
Yeah.
Still, March 10th. They're only now taking out troops in a war that didn't need to happen.
I don't think... Well, yeah. Who are we to...
As a military, Brad!
Alright, fine. That's... You can go in
what
on
the
this.
Fuck?
I have no speed.
We didn't need to be in Afghanistan or Iran or any of this
and I'm okay
bullshit.
with that.
Ugh.
Then... And
Damn
welcome
you.
to March.
Welcome to March. Welcome to the
month
more bullshit.
where everything started.
International Criminal Court authorizes the Afghanistan war crimes inquiry to proceed, reportedly allowing for the first time U.S. citizens to be investigated.
Then March 9th, international share prices fall sharply in response to a Russo-Saudi oil price war and the impact of COVID-19. Then the Dow dropped again over 2,000 points, the largest fall in history. Oil prices also plunged as much as 30%, the biggest fall since 1991.
March 11th, COVID-19 pandemic. The World Health Organization declares COVID-19 outbreak a pandemic.
Yep, complete global destruction. And then global stock market crash again. The U.S. travel ban on the Schengen area. And then the Dow Jones goes into a free fall. 2.3 thousand points, the worst losses for the index since 1987. You know, the year that the child got bit by the animatronic. Oh, wait, that was a game.
The bite of 87.
The bite of 87.
March 13th, COVID-19 pandemic. The government of Nepal announces Mount Everest will be closed to climbers and the public for the rest of the season due to the concerns of COVID-19 pandemic in Asia.
And then March 16th, once again, I keep getting all the Dow Jones lines.
I keep getting all COVID.
Industrial average falls by 2,997, the largest point in history, you know, just before a week ago, and the second largest percentage drop ever at 12.93, even greater crash than Black Monday in 1929. This follows the Federal Reserve announcing that it will cut its target interest rate to 0.25.
March 17th, COVID-19 pandemic. European leaders closed the EU's external and that's German.
Country.
Borders for at least 30 days in effort to curb COVID-19 pandemic. The Euro 2020 and 2020 Copa American Association football tournaments are postponed until the summer of 2021 by UFA and Kumbol, respectively.
March 18th, more COVID. The European Broadcasting Union announces that the Eurovision Song Contest 2020 will be canceled due to COVID-19, the first cancellation in the contest's 64-year history. And the Solidarity Trial, a WHO-sponsored group dedicated to finding a cure against COVID-19, is announced by Director General of WHO, Tedros, last name I'm not going to attempt to butcher.
Yeah.
March
20th, COVID-19. The worldwide death toll from COVID-19 surpasses 10,000, and the total number of cases reached 250,000. Bahald Solar Park is commissioned and becomes the world's largest solar park.
Yeah, another good win for science.
That's a good one.
Big solar panel field. March 24th, more COVID-19. India goes into lockdown to contain COVID-19. The total number of people in the world facing some form of pandemic-related movement restriction now exceeds 2.6 billion, a third of the global population. Chinese Premier Li Keqiang, I think
that was butchered.
For the billionth time, I am terribly sorry. Reports that the domestically transmitted epidemic was basically blocked, I'm using air quotes because there's quotes, and is now under control. 2 days later, China temporarily suspends entry to foreign nationals with visa of residence permits. and effective midnight, March 28th.
The International Olympic Committee in Japan suspended the 2020 Summer Olympics until 2021. On March 30th, the Summer Olympics was rescheduled to July 23rd and August 8th of 2021.
Which was the first time the Olympics had been canceled in,
Ever?
100 years.
I don't know. Check that.
Yeah, I'll check that.
Continue. March 26th, COVID-19 pandemic. Global COVID cases are reaching 500,000 and nearly 23,000 deaths confirmed. The U.S. surpasses China and Italy in a total number of known COVID cases, with at least 81,321 cases and more than 1,000 deaths. Wow, America, we shot for number one in the worst possible way.
Yep.
Militants in the Philippines, Syria, Yemen, and Libya are... again, if I pronounce Libya incorrectly, I apologize. Agreed to the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres' call for a ceasefire. Mm-hmm. Some accept medical aid for themselves and civilians in their communities. Guterres, I apologize, also asked the wealthy countries to provide $2 billion in aid for fighting the virus. Colombia and Venezuela discussed the common response to the global pandemic, and the UAE airlifts aid to Iran.
Mm-hmm. So, update on the Olympics thing.
Uh-huh.
The Olympics have officially been canceled 3 times. Once during World War I in 1916, and twice during World War II in 1940 and 1944.
Okay.
But... returning off of that tangent, March 27th, North Macedonia becomes the 30th country to join NATO. And then the 30th, the 2020 Russia-Saudi Arabia oil price war. The price of Brent crude falls 9% to $23 per barrel, the lowest price since November of 2002.
And we are done with March.
And March is over. April 1st. Just kidding. It's all fake.
It's still...
It's not really.
It's still a mess.
It's still a mess.
COVID-19, the pandemic. China reports 130 asymptomatic cases of COVID-19. Its first reported asymptomatic cases. Yemen's internationally recognized government releases more than 470 of its prisoners amid concerns of the spread of the virus in Yemen's overcrowded jails. The United National Human Rights Council has called for the release of all political prisoners.
Then the very next day, the number of confirmed cases for COVID-19 passed 1 million worldwide. And then April 5th, the first case of COVID in a zoo animal is reported, because that's important news, which...
A 4-year-old Malayan tiger in the Bronx Zoo of New York City.
And also, YouTube, hello, says it will remove videos promoting a conspiracy theory linking 5G to COVID-19. Like we said, 5G definitely doesn't cause COVID-19. While borderline content will be removed from search results.
The decision comes after 4 more mobile phone masts are set on fire, and broadband engineers are receiving threats in several UK cities.
Yeah, they were burning the 5G towers, and they were threatening the lives of them.
April 6th, the United States designates the Russian Imperial Movement as a terrorist organization and imposes sanctions on its leaders, and is the first white supremacy group the U.S. has designated as a terrorist organization.
The very next day, April 7th, Japan declares... Oh, whoops.
What are you doing?
I'm trying to make it bigger so we can read. Japan declares a state of emergency in response to COVID-19 and finalizes a stimulus package worth 108 trillion yen, or 990 billion US dollars, equal to 20% of the country's GDP.
The next day, China ends the lockdown in Wuhan, and people are allowed to leave the city for the first time in 76 days. The Saudi-led coalition declares unilateral ceasefire in its operations against Houthi? I'm sorry if we're pronouncing that wrong. Forces in Yemen in accordance to the United Nations lead efforts.
Are they Houthi or are they unhealthy? They have COVID. Anyway, April 10th, Kuvi Ebola pandemic. epidemic. Sorry, the Democratic Republic of the Congo report the first case of Ebola since February 2020. The outbreak has killed more than 2,200 people since August of 2018.
Wait, you're telling me in the midst of a pandemic?
In the midst of a pandemic, there is an epidemic
in the Congo. What the?
Oh
my god!
That's like you're having dinner, you're having your main course, and then they come up and give you appetizers.
It's so. What the hell?
Anyway.
The ESA or JAXA space probe
Bepi Colombo?
Yeah.
Whatever
makes
that is.
its final gravity assist around the Earth and begins to depart for Venus, where it will make several gravity assist maneuvers before finally arriving at Mercury in 2025.
Cool. 5 years from now, it's at Mercury.
And that'll be interesting.
And then the death toll exceeded 100,000 globally from COVID. A tenfold increase from March 20th. It's been 20 days, and it's exponential. That's what I feel like. That's what people don't get. Not to go on a tangent, but every person it infects, it goes to two more people. It's like a hydra. You cut off one head, two more take its place. It doubles, or not doubles, but like increases by a certain amount every time. It's not like 10 more every minute. It's 10 times that every minute.
It's 10 more in every city in every country of the world.
Exactly.
But it's also one of those things where it's like you physically, like mentally, can't seem to wrap your head around that many people that are sick.
Exactly. You can't. I bet there's not even 100 people in your contacts, or at least 100 people that you can genuinely say you know more than 2 things about. So you probably couldn't even imagine 100,000, and it is impossible to imagine 1 million people.
Yeah,
it's
definitely not wrong.
Yeah,
it's a mess. Yeah, but
off of that tangent,
the EU financial ministers agree to a 540 billion loan package to alleviate the economic fallout of the pandemic.
Then April 12th, Pope Francis live streams the Urbi et Orbi blessing for Easter. It is the second blessing in a month, with the first taking place on March 27th during a special prayer service for the end of the pandemic. And OPEC and allies strike a deal to cut oil production by 9.7 million barrels per day, the largest cut agreed upon starting May 1st.
April 14th, again, the COVID pandemic. The International Monetary Fund has exceeded the world's economy to shrink 3%, the worst contraction since the Great Depression in the 1930s. U.S. President Donald Trump, again, I hate saying that. Hell yeah, Biden won. Anyways, announces the U.S. will suspend funding towards the World Health Organization pending the investigation of its handling of the COVID-19 pandemic and its relationship with China. Why are you a fucking moron?
China.
He is such an idiot. Mm-hmm. Complete. Anyways.
Mm-hmm. I wonder what side people think we're on now. Anyway, April 15th, the number of confirmed cases of COVID-19 passes 2 million. I don't know where the 1 million went. And then
the 2020 Tour de France was delayed until August of 2020.
Did that happen?
August of 2020 due to the COVID-19 pandemic. I don't think it did.
End up happening in August.
I don't think
Tour de France.
I do not believe it did because I don't think it could.
I'm pretty sure it didn't.
Yeah, I think it's happening in 2021. I don't think it happened in 2020.
Either I'm misreading this or Tour de France did not happen last year.
I would be surprised if it could. The Chinese... Okay, we are now on April 17th. We are only still in April, guys.
We're still in April. April and May are the biggest months this year.
Jesus. The China Security Regulations Commission approves of a transaction in which Switzerland's Credit Suisse. Oh, thank you. Will take a majority interest in China's securities firms, making Credit Suisse the first foreign bank to own a majority of such a company since the easing of foreign ownership rules in 2018.
And related to COVID, on that day, April 17th, China revises the COVID-19 death toll in Wuhan upward, adding 1,290 more fatalities to bring the country's reported COVID-19 deaths to 4,632. Europe surpasses 100,000 related deaths. The UN Human Rights Office accuses Myanmar of carrying out daily airstrikes in the Rakhine and Chin states that at least 32 civilians have been killed since March 23rd. The separatist Ukrainian army unilaterally declared a month-long ceasefire to fight the pandemic, but the military rejected the ceasefire, claiming a previous ceasefire had been word that I can't pronounce by the insurgents.
We're just sounding like freaking...
We're toddlers.
Yeah.
We're morons.
There are some words of this that
Yeah.
my brain is just not computing today. This is fun.
April 18th.
April 18th, 44 suspected Boko Haram members are found dead, apparently due to poisoning inside a prison in...
Jemena.
Okay, Chad. In April 19th, Vietnam condemns China's prior decision to establish administration districts in the dispute of Parcel and the Separatist Islands as a violation of its sovereignty. Are you kidding me? Vietnam and China started a war in the middle
In the middle of a pandemic. Don't they know how to social distance? Anyway, April 20th.
The pandemic, the unrest breaks out in Paris, Berlin, and that is Nordic, and I cannot pronounce it.
Probably foreign. Vladikavkaz.
We attempted. As an opposition of the COVID-19 lockdowns continue.
And then April 20, 420, what is it? Oil prices reach a record low, with West Texas Intermediate falling into negative values. The Industrial Bank of Korea agrees to pay the U.S. $86 million and will enter a 2-year deferred prosecution agreement to settle lawsuits. More things. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Blue and White Alliance leader Benny Gantz agree on a deal to form a unity government, thus ending more than a year of political deadlock. And then April 21st.
Oh, God.
Mozambique
police say 52 male villagers were killed by
Islamist.
Okay, I was making sure I was pronouncing that correct. Islamist. Shut up.
We're tired.
I am tired and still slightly hungover. Anyways, an Islamist militarist earlier this month in the Mundabi district of Cabo Delgado province after they refused to join their ranks.
April 22nd, Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps deploys the country's first military satellite using a new satellite carrier called Ghassid, which translates to messenger, apparently.
April 23rd, the Syrian Civil War. You forgot about that, didn't you?
I forgot about that one, definitely.
The 2 former high-ranking members of the Syrian army go on trial in Koblenz, Germany, for alleged war crimes committed during the Civil War. The first time the Syrian military officials are prosecuted for their roles in the conflict. COVID pandemic. Facebook removes pseudoscience and conspiracy theory as options for targeted ads as criticism mounts against social media for its role in spreading misinformation about COVID-19.
April 25th, the Yemeni Civil War. Yeah, another one at the same time in a different country. The STC announces the establishment of a self-rule administration in southern Yemen and deploys forces in Aden. Governors of multiple southern Yemeni governments and Socotra Island reject the STC's claim to self-rule. Months later, on July 19th, the SCT accepts a Saudi-brokered peace deal and abandons its self-rule aspiration. And also, the global death toll exceeds 200,000, and the UK becomes the 5th country to report 20,000 deaths.
Do the governments in countries and do old white men, because that's normally what they are, or at least
90% of the time.
Most of the time, they're just okay. In our case, they're old white men, but in other cases, just old men in general. Do you guys have nothing better to do than war? Because really, really,
like, here's the thing.
I'm not gonna get into politics.
Agree to disagree. End of story. And I guarantee someone's gonna quote me on that and say that's not something we can do, and that just proves my point.
My thing is, and I'm not going to get into other countries' politics because I'm not a part of that country, so I do not know what's going on. But I emphasize there is more to life than war.
There is more to life than just saying, "Hey, accept this or die," and then they say no, and then you kill them.
It's
It's
exhausting.
it's a very, very keyhole frame of life.
Why?
Anyway, tangent over.
It's tangent over, but goddamn.
26.
King Salman issues royal decree declaring that people will no longer be executed in Saudi Arabia for crimes they were convicted of when they were minors.
Oh, cool. That's pretty good. Saudi Arabia is no longer killing minors for crimes.
The Pentagon formally releases 3 videos previously leaked by Luis Elzado.
That was in April?
As unidentified aerial phenomena. Wait, this was in April?
Yeah, I could have sworn that was in like July or something.
I thought the aliens was later.
By the way, unidentified aerial phenomena is the new official term for
flying saucers.
Unidentified flying objects. Because people use UFOs as aliens way too often, so they said we need a new thing that people aren't going to use. But yeah, those were
UAPs.
UAP as opposed to UFOs, or as I call them, WAP. WAP.
Encountered by the U.S. Navy pilots. COVID pandemic. The number of confirmed cases passes 3 million worldwide, while the number of cases in the U.S. passes 1 million.
Yeah,
again,
we're number 1.
Why are we number 1 in the worst thing ever?
We're number 1. We win. Give us
no,
a trophy.
We're number
April
1.
28th.
We are number 1 in the worst.
April 28th. A fast radio burst, I don't know what that is detected from the Magnetar SGR 1935 plus 2154, the first ever detected inside the Milky Way. I assume that's a planet. And the first to be linked to a known source. Fast radio burst?
Yeah, it's a radio frequency. They use radio pulses in astronomy to locate planets. Colombia formalizes its membership with the Organization of the Economic Cooperation and Development, becoming the 75th nation of the organization. The Indian Ministry of External Affairs condemned the U.S. Commission of International Religious Freedom after its annual report recommends placing India in the countries of particular concern blacklist over the Citizenship Amendment Act and the revocation of Jammu and Kashmir special status. The controversial comments made by Home Minister Amit Shah, among others.
Then April 29th. Yep, we're still in April.
The asteroid that almost killed... That
1998 OR2, a near-Earth asteroid that is 2 kilometers wide, 1.2 miles, makes a close approach of 0.04 AU, or 6.3 million kilometers to Earth. It will not approach closer than this until 2079. So we got another... What year is it?
It's 2021.
It's 2021. We got another 58 years until we're dead, so we're good.
Then
April 30th.
NASA officially selects SpaceX, Blue Origin, and Dynetics to build the next generation lunar lander to carry American astronauts to the moon in 2024.
Nice, I didn't know we were
Bulgaria applies for the ERM to the waiting room of the Eurozone due to join along with Croatia in July of 2020. We are finally in May.
That's the end of April. Congrats, we're 1/3 done. Anywho, May 1st, COVID-19, the total number of recovered COVID patients reaches 1 million, according to data from the Johns Hopkins University. And then May 3rd and 4th.
Venezuela descendants and American-based private military company Silver Corp USA unsuccessfully attempts to infiltrate Venezuela and forcefully remove President Nicolas Maduro from office. Again, we're questioning.
So that was a 2-day thing.
May 4th, a team of British and Kenyan scientists announced the discovery of Microsobia MB, a parasitic microbe in the microsobic fungi group that blocks mosquitoes from carrying malaria.
Potentially paving the way for the control of malaria. That's pretty cool. We may have found a
cure for malaria.
We should look into that if we're done soon.
Yeah.
May 5th, UK death toll from COVID-19 becomes the highest in Europe at 32,313 after exceeding the death toll of 29,029 in Italy. And the Philippines National Telecommunications Commission issues a cease and desist ordering the broadcasting operations of ABS-CBN, the country's largest media network, as Congress fails to renew its franchise granted on March 30th in 1995. Last time the network was shut down was on the declaration of martial law by the Philippine dictator Ferdinand Marcos in 1972. On July 10th, members of the Philippine House Committee of Legislative Franchises vote against the franchise renewal of the said network. That was a lot of kind of boring stuff, but
I mean, technically all of this is kind of boring, but this
TV
is also
bad in the Philippines.
This is also just our lives
Yeah.
in general in this year. Astronomers announced the discovery of the first black hole located in the star system visible to the naked eye.
But black holes, star system visible, black hole within that star system.
Yep.
Okay, I was gonna say you can't see them though. That's the point.
COVID-19 pandemic. The evidence indicates that a Legion-born French fishmonger who had not traveled to China and did not have contact with any Chinese nationals was treated for pneumonia from an unknown source in December 27 of 2019. Now identifies as COVID-19. That makes a lot of freaking sense because my mom was diagnosed with pneumonia in 2019, and it was strange.
Oof.
She somehow lived though.
Yeah. May 9th, several Chinese and Indian soldiers are injured in a cross-border clash at the Nathu LA crossing. About 150 troops participated in the face-off, which involved fistfights and stone throwing. Wow, May 9th, and we already reverted to cavemen. And then the very...
I'm sorry. May 9th, we already reverted to cavemen.
We are cavemen. It's not even halfway through the year.
Oh,
Ooga
God.
booga. I apologize. I'm not appropriating. I'm digging myself in a hole. May 10th.
The Iran Navy frigate Jamaran accidentally
How do you accidentally...
strikes the Iran support vessel Kronar Sol, killing 19. I'm not.
Hey, 19 dead people over there. Sorry that we accidentally killed you with a fucking missile.
I'm sorry.
This is the first friendly fire incident since February of 2019 when an Indian Mi-17 helicopter was mistakenly shot down by an Indian Air Defense Forces. Okay, I understand if you, miscommunicate, the thing, but, missile?
I'm sorry for laughing, but, how?
How do you... Okay.
I'm not trying to be insensitive
It's
for the lives lost, but
Yeah.
it's just how do you accidentally fire a missile? You don't just hit a button with your elbow and go, oh shit.
Hey, do we hate those guys over there in that submarine? I don't know. Shoot them anyway. All right. What missile should we use? The big one. Cool. May 11th, the Max Planck Institute for Evolutionary Anthropology publishes the results of radiocarbon and DNA analysis from the fossils that had been found in the Bakokura Cave, Bulgaria.
By the way, we skipped the COVID on that because we were laughing. We were talking to it.
May 10th.
The number, we're back to May 10th, the number of confirmed cases of COVID-19 passes 4 million worldwide.
And Wuhan reported first coronavirus cases in more than a month. An 89-year-old man is confirmed positive, but his wife and several members of the community are recorded as asymptomatic. Okay. But,
back to May 11th.
Back to the Planck Institute. This sounds like science. Anthropology, which I think is butterflies?
Anthropology.
I'm gonna look this up.
No, if I remember correctly, isn't anthropology the study of bones?
Anthropology is the study of... I didn't want the clothing company. What are you talking about?
You didn't even spell it correctly.
Shut up. Anthropology, the scientific study of humanity concerned with human behavior, biology, and societies, both in the present and the past.
Yeah, it's how we went from cavemen to the men we are today.
Yes.
Evolutionary shit. Mm-hmm. Where is it? Okay. Publishes the research of the radiocarbon and DNA analysis from the fossils that have been found in the Bakokura Cave. Again, I'm sorry if I butchered that. In Bulgaria. The results showing that the fossils belong to Homo sapiens instead of Neanderthals indicates that modern humans may have arrived in Europe thousands of years earlier than previously thought.
That's pretty cool. Kind of, in my opinion.
In my opinion, it makes it sound like Homo sapiens and Neanderthals existed at the same time, And and the reason Neanderthals don't exist today is because Homo sapiens killed them.
Yeah.
Is what that sounds like.
Pretty much. Well, it was kind of like the evolutionary thing where certain species
died out,
go extinct because they can't survive for whatever reason or another.
Yeah.
And the reason that there are primates and us and none of the in-betweens is because all of the in-betweens they don't need to exist anymore.
Okay, May 12th.
May 12th, gunmen storm a maternity hospital and kill 24 people, including 2 newborn babies. Wow, that's terrible. In Dashte Barki, or whatever.
A major Shia neighborhood in Kabul, Afghanistan. In a separate incident, Kazu Kunar, 32 people were killed at a funeral by a suicide bomber.
Wow, that is... May 12th was not a great day.
What the fuck?
Okay.
That was terrible. And now back to COVID.
Anyway, May 14th, to follow that act...
the global death toll of COVID-19 exceeds 300,000. The UN warns the global mental health crisis caused by isolation, fear, uncertainty, and economic toll.
And the NATO Secretary Jens Stoltenberg says the military alliance is ready to support, again I'm using air quotes, the UN-recognized government of national accord, while Greece, a member state of NATO, strongly criticizes Stoltenberg's remarks, saying his recognition of the Muslim Brotherhood government does not reflect the positions of the military alliance.
May 15, researchers announce 2.5 centimeter millipede fossils belonging to the Caparcus?
Campicaris, I think.
Fucking...
Whatever.
Genus discovered on the island of Carrar in the Scottish Inner
Hebrides or something. I don't know. I'm trying to think Gaelic.
Is the world's oldest known land animal, which lived 425 million years ago in the Silurian period.
God damn, that is an old millipede. May 16th, Bundesliga?
The first major
Bundesliga.
The first major sports league resumed its
sports season
in March 11. What is this?
Sometimes referred to as foosball. I think it's a sport. Oh, it's a sports league. Okay.
Oh, okay, it's a German football league.
All right, and then Felician Kabuga, a Rwandan businessman responsible for supporting Rwanda genocide, is arrested in France.
After 26 years
26
as a fugitive.
That'd be like finding Adolf Hitler now.
I mean, no one's entirely sure if the man died or not.
He'd have to be like 100-something, or wouldn't he? Hold on.
1945?
He was born in 1889. That'd make him... Don't laugh at me. I'm not fast at math. He'd be 132. That's biologically impossible. Shut up.
Okay, anyways.
18th.
Jesus. We're at the 19th, are we? No.
Nope, we're at 18th, aren't we? Yeah, we are.
We're 18th. At the 18th, right. The United Nations Office of the Coordination of the Humanitarian Affairs announces nearly 1 million people are affected, and at least 24 people have died in flash floods that hit the Bedouin and Johar, Somalia. In a historic move, the World Health Organization holds its annual World Health Assembly using video conference instead of in-person meetings.
Good on them, because... Oh, God. Are we going to have to bring up Zoom?
No!
Jesus. Everything converting to Zoom. Just use Discord. Then again, I understand if you don't want your personal Discord on work. Because, I get that, but... Jesus. May 19th, Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas announces the termination of all agreements, including security ones, with Israel and the United States in response to Israel's plans to annex the Jordan Valley.
May 21st, the cyclone Amphan makes landfall in eastern India and Bangladesh, killing over 100 people and forcing the evacuation of more than 4 million others.
$13 billion in damage.
Making it the costliest cyclone to ever recorded in the North Indian Ocean, shattering the record previously held by Negris.
Nargis, whatever. The U.S. announces it will withdraw from the Open Skies Treaty within 6 months, alleging continuous violations by Russia. And then the number of confirmed cases passes 5 million worldwide, with 106 new cases recorded over the past 24 hours.
Highest single day figure so far. God,
Can you read?
I can read. I can't. My brain's not keeping up with what I'm reading.
You're just hungover. I get it.
Shut up.
May 22nd. Flight.
I'm not that bad.
Flight PK8303, a Pakistan International Airlines passenger aircraft, crashes in a residential area near
Who's hungover?
Karachi. My mouth's full of spit. Sorry. In Pakistan, killing 97 of the 99 total people on board and injuring dozens on the ground.
COVID pandemic. Brazil overtakes Russia and to become the country in the second highest. Why? Why was this such a thing?
Russia's number 2, like always.
No, Brazil overtakes Russia and becomes number 2.
Oh, Brazil's number 2. Okay.
Over 330,000 cases reported. President Jair Bolsonaro.
I can't read.
It's Spanish. Continues to dismiss the threat of the virus.
Oh wow, May 22nd. We've been inside for what, 3 months at that point?
China reports no new cases for the first time since the pandemic begun, according to the National Health Commission.
That's sounds like a lie, but okay.
I don't fucking know.
Mining corporation Rio Tinto admits to blowing up the 46,000-year-old Juukan Gorge caves in the Pilbara area of Western Australia. The firm later issues an apology to the 2 Aboriginal peoples, who are the traditional owners of the site. Wow.
Why?
And
my question for that is, why?
Yeah, why? Very why. The once-in-a-decade storm batters 3,000 kilometers of the coast of Western Australia. That's 1,900
So,
miles.
can we talk about how Australia got set on fire?
Got caught on fire, then it was blown up, and then the same day it was blown up, which was hopefully after... Hold on, is Australia still on fire?
I pray it's not.
No, Australia is still not on fire.
Okay,
but
but
at
still.
that time it was still on fire.
So it's on fire.
It's on fire. It explodes,
it's
and
been
in the same day it has a
exploded.
terrible storm that covers like half of the. How big is Australia? This is a lot of googly going on.
The Australian people.
Okay, so
do
that
not.
3,000 kilometers of the coast.
God.
But
the Australian people need a freaking break.
Like 1,000th of the country was in the same storm all at once. Jesus Christ, that's a lot of rain.
Mm-hmm. Egyptian President
Abdel
Fattah el-Sisi. I tried.
Yeah.
Pardons 3,157 prisoners to celebrate Eid al-Fitr. And 2 days later, President Zimbabwe Edgar Lungu pardons nearly 3,000 inmates in the commemorate Africa Freedom Day.
Nice. May 26th, protests. Oh, here we go. This was May? I thought
This
was
was in
June.
May?
Protests caused by the killing of George Floyd break out across hundreds of cities in the U.S. and around the world. They are followed by further protests and rallies on June 6th against racism and police brutality around the world. Costa Rica
becomes the first Central American country to legalize same-sex marriage.
Nice. Then LATAM Airlines, the largest air carrier in Latin America, files for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Because I remember a long time, I don't remember, but I've heard a long time ago, airlines would go bankrupt like every few years, but then that stopped happening for a while.
I don't remember.
But that's the first time
The
I've heard
Chinese National People's Congress votes in favor of the national security legislation that criminalizes succession, subversion, and terrorism, and the foreign interference in Hong Kong. The legislation grants sweeping powers to the Chinese central government to suppress Hong Kong's democracy movement, including banning activist groups and curtailing civil liberties. The U.S. government responds to declaring Hong Kong is no longer autonomous under the United States and Hong Kong Policy Act.
Quick tangent. This is me personally. Free Hong Kong, free Palestine, and wow, that's really putting a muzzle on the entire Chinese people.
Here's my question. What does the U.S. have to do with this when Hong Kong was a territory of Britain?
That's not my problem. Sorry. I'm not trying to make light of this. It's just... shit's bad everywhere.
Oh, God.
Things have been bad everywhere
I
forever.
don't know when this starts, but when are we gonna get to the rioting happening in Thailand?
I'm gonna be completely honest. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh wow! Oh God, that's gonna be fun for you to read. Back to COVID, apparently.
Yeah, back to COVID. U.S. death toll passes 100,000.
More Americans that were killed in the More Americans than were killed in the Vietnam and Korean War combined, approaching that of the First World War,
Well,
where
116,000
Americans died in combat. The total number of cases continues to rise, although the rate is slowing.
I wonder if it's still slowing.
We'll find out.
We had a big spike back in whatever that month was. Anyway, May 28th, a court in Rwanda sentences former mayor of Nyakizo, again I tried, Ladislas, not even going to attempt that, to life imprisonment for his role in orchestrating the massacre of hundreds of thousands of people in the Rwandan genocide.
Jesus Christ.
That was like, what did it say before? Like 25 years ago? 26 years ago? Something like that?
Yeah.
That's...
Can
Jesus.
Can we again talk about how we all complain about learning history as kids in like school and shit. When they get to the year 2020, it's going to be its entire book.
2020 is going to need its own textbook, and then it's like every other year's it's just going to keep getting worse.
Oh God.
Is the problem.
Anyways,
May 30th, the first crew flight. Ooh, more science.
The first crew flight
out of my way.
of
First crew flight of SpaceX Dragon 2, initially scheduled for May 27th, but delayed due to weather, is launched from Cape Canaveral, Florida. The first manned spacecraft to take off from the U.S. soil since the retirement of the Space Shuttle program in 2011. Sorry I took over there. I'm a big science nerd. Anywho.
Kennedy Space Center is awesome.
That's the end of May. Into June.
Oh, fuck. Ebola!
Ebola.
The Kivu Ebola epidemic, the World Health Organization reports 6 new cases of Ebola, and the UNICEF reports 5 deaths in the renewed outbreak of disease in the Mabanaca Equantaria province of the Dominican Republic of the Congo. Democratic Republic, I said Dominican.
Dominican Republic
Whoops.
of the Congo. June 2nd, the U.S. $5 billion class action lawsuit is filed against Alphabet, Inc. and Google. What?
Allegedly, the company violating users' rights of privacy by tracking them through
now I
Chrome's
remember
incognito
this.
mode.
Everyone got scared because they found out that Chrome was tracking incognito, and then everyone said, oh no.
It says it when you go into incognito mode.
But it's not being tracked, which is apparently that was a lie. I don't know if it still is. But
well, no, it says when you go in incognito mode, like your providers and shit will still know. So you're like incognito, but not fully. Like it's not in your history.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, the Prime Minister Boris Johnson says the UK will change immigration laws to provide pathway to UK citizenship for all Hong Kong citizens who are eligible by BNO status if the government of China imposes new security laws on the territory. I think we're going to have a lot of incoming Hong Kong citizens into the UK.
Oh boy.
SpaceX successfully launches and deploys 60 Starlink satellites into the low Earth orbit of Cape Canaveral Air Force Station.
Total number 482.
We have too many.
That should be done by next year, I think.
We have way too many satellites.
No, here's the thing.
Planet.
Do you know what Starlink does? Starlink is meant to cover the entire world with low latency, high quality internet for free.
Oh.
It's basically Elon Musk saying everyone deserves internet, and people are like, there's still people that say Elon Musk sucks, but I'm just like, you know what? Fine.
Whatever.
Whatever.
SpaceX is the only thing he's done good in my opinion. But the Russian President Vladimir Putin declares a state of emergency after 2,000 tons of oil leaked into the Amanara River near the Siberian city of Norslik within the Arctic Circle. On May 26th of 2020, the World Wildlife Fund said the accident is to believe the second largest in modern Russian history.
By the way, quick fun tangent. The World Wildlife Fund almost sued WWE because WWE almost became WWF. So just, you have that fact now.
Great.
Anyway, June 4th, Libya's government of national accord says they are in full control of the capital, Tripoli, I think, after forces of the Libyan National Army retreat from the territory following months of intense fighting in the city, and Hong Kong Legislative Council passed the controversial National Anthem Ordinance. What is that?
Let me see.
National Anthem Ordinance.
The National Anthem Ordinance is the ordinance of Hong Kong intended to criminalize insults to the national anthem of China.
Oh, so it's taking away even more of their speech freedoms.
Yeah.
Okay,
the
cool.
local law is in response to the law of the People's Republic of China on the national anthem, the Chinese Communist Party, blah, blah, blah. Basically, because they were insulting, most Hong Kong citizens were insulting all of China, they were also insulting the national anthem, so that's what that law was passed.
Yeah.
Just stop it. More COVID. The next 3 days are just
Wow, June
COVID.
7th, June 8th, and June 9th are just COVID.
Global death toll of COVID-19 exceeds 400,000.
Confirmed cases passes 7 million. And then
The Harvard University study suggests that COVID-19 may be spreading in China as early as August 2019 based on the
early.
hospital car park usage and web search trends.
all right, then a couple days later, June 15th, at least 20 Indian soldiers and over 40 Chinese forces are killed or injured in skirmishes in disputed Gawan Valley, the largest escalation alongside the Sino-Indian border in 5 decades. Excuse me. Turkish and Iranian forces commence air and artillery strikes against Kurdistan Workers' Party forces in Iraqi Kurdistan. Turkey launches a land operation in the region on June 17th.
Jesus. June 16th. Again, COVID. COVID-19 pandemic. The number of confirmed cases of COVID-19 passes 8 million worldwide. North Korea demolishes the Inter-Korean Legislative Assembly in Kisong, I believe I pronounced that correctly, established in 2018 to improve relations.
June 21st, the solar eclipse. That was pretty cool. It probably was signaling the end times, but who cares? Then June 22nd, sorry, misspoke. The number of confirmed COVID cases passes 9 million worldwide. It keeps going up.
23rd, a 7.5 magnitude earthquake strikes the coast of Oaxaca, Mexico, and kills at least 4 people.
Felt more
Like-
640 kilometers away in Mexico City. Wow, that was 400 miles
June
away.
27th, Michael Martin succeeds Leo Van...
Varadkar?
God damn it. In the
That's
Taoiseach
classic.
of Ireland, the historic third-party coalition government.
June 28th, back to COVID. The number of confirmed COVID cases passes 10 million. The U.S. continues to report the highest number of any country as it reaches 2.5 million, a quarter of all cases globally, and the global death toll exceeds 500,000. We're number 1. Give us a trophy.
The last day of June, China passes the controversial Hong Kong national security law, allowing China to crack down on the opposition to Beijing at home or abroad.
And June is over. Now we're into July. July 1st, Russian voters back a constitutional amendment that, among other things, enables Vladimir Putin to seek two further 6-year terms when his current term ends in 2024, potentially allowing him to remain in power until 2036. He's just... Putin's probably immortal. or a vampire or something. I don't know. I can't actually say anything, but you know.
I feel like if we say anything, the man's gonna somehow find out and kill us.
Like we should be getting a knock on our door any minute. Knock on wood.
July 7th, protests begin throughout Bulgaria with the goal of removing Provosozi's cabinet and chief prosecutor Ivan Gusev from office. COVID. Back to COVID. Thousands of people rally outside the House of the National Assembly in Siberia in Belgrade to respond to the stricter lockdown procedures proposed by President Alexander Nope.
Alexander Nope. That's not his last name, but we're not even attempting it.
There's too many accents and
like
umlauts.
4 accents on that.
What the
thing.
frick?
VUCIC with like 4 accents across it. Anyway.
It followed
Following
the increased cases in the city.
July 8th, number of confirmed COVID cases passes 12 million. We didn't even bother with counting the 11 million.
Jesus.
And then at least 180 bodies are found in mass graves in Djibo, Burkina Faso, where soldiers are fighting jihadists. It is suspected the government forces were involved in a mass extrajudicial execution.
Fuck is a jihad?
Wow. I think it's a ethnic group or religious
It
group?
is an ethnic group.
Something like that.
It's a,
We're not intolerant, we're just stupid.
we're ignorant, not arrogant.
Correct.
The ECB accepts Bulgaria and Croatia into the ERM2 and mandatory stage of countries wishing to adopt the euro. This is the currency union's first major expansion in half a decade. Turkish President oh, come on! Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, I'm so sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Orders the Higard Sophia in Istanbul to be reverted to a mosaic following...
To a mosque.
A mosque mosaic brain!
Mosaic. Following a Supreme Court annulment of a 1934 presidential decree that made it into the museum.
Brain.
Yep.
I hate my brain.
On
Anyways.
July 12th.
China reports 141 dead or missing in the flood since June. 28,000 homes have been damaged.
Wow. On July 15th, the Twitter accounts of prominent political figures, CEOs, and celebrities are hacked to promote a Bitcoin scam. Oh, I do remember that.
I don't.
There were, like, basically every popular person on Twitter, or basically every verified person on Twitter, was hacked, and then it was just like, use Bitcoin or something like that. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I do remember that Twitter got hacked.
July 18th, the pandemic. The worldwide health toll exceeds 600,000.
Then July 19th, flooding of the Brahmaputra River kills 189 and leaves 4 million people homeless in India and Nepal.
Again, back to... I'm just going to read these 3 because they're just
3.
COVID.
It was 21st, 22nd, 25th.
They're just COVID. The European leader agrees to create a $75 billion or US $858 billion recovery fund to rebuild EU's economies impacted by the pandemic.
I didn't expect you to actually say it. Economies.
Economy. I don't... there's an IE at the end. My brain was like, economy. Why is that weird?
The number of confirmed cases passed 15 million worldwide, and the North Korean leader Kim Jong-un convenes an emergency meeting, declares a state of emergency, and orders the lockdown of Kaesong after a person suspected of having COVID returned from South Korea. If confirmed, it would be the first case to be officially acknowledged by North Korea.
July... Why does that say 28 July?
Every other date on this page is month, day, except for July 28th, which says 28 July.
The former president of Malaysia, Najib Razak, found guilty of all 7 charges of the first 5 trials of the 1MDB scandal, jailed for 12 years and fined RM 210 million as a result.
Wow. Then July 30th, NASA successfully launches its Mars 2020 rover mission to search for signs of ancient life and collect samples to return to Earth. The mission includes technologies, demonstrations to prepare for future human missions. What? Oh, I think they mean like microbiotic and like cells and crap.
Yeah.
I was thinking ancient life more like Egyptian, ancient.
Oh.
Anyway, August 1st.
We're in August! Finally!
Finally. Over halfway done.
For the love of everything, we're in August.
Yep. The Barakan nuclear power plant in the UAE becomes operational following delays since 2017. It is the first commercial nuclear power station in the Arab world.
August 2nd, COVID-19 pandemic. In rare talks, Emirati Foreign Minister Sheikh
Person bin Zayed, that's like 19 different names. And hold on. Sheikh Abdullah bin Zayed Al Nahyan.
And Iran Foreign Minister Mohammed Javad Zarif, right, my brain. Hold a video call to discuss the various regional issues, including combating COVID-19 in the respective countries. August 4th,
an explosion caused by unsafely stored ammonium nitrate kills over 220 people, injures thousands, and severely damages a port in Beirut, Lebanon. Damage estimated at $10 to $15 billion. 300,000 people are left homeless.
The following day, the Lebanese government declared a 2-week state of emergency. August 5th, U.S. Secretary of Health and Human Services Alec Azar travels to Taiwan in the highest U.S. official visit to the country in 40 years. The PRC condemns the visit. COVID pandemic, worldwide death toll exceeds 70,000.
August 7th, Air India Express Flight 1344 crashes after overrunning the runway at Calicut International Airport in Kerala, India, killing 19 of the 191 people on board. Then August 9th.
The presidential election in Belarus, which led to the incumbent Alexander Lukashenko, re-election sparked protests throughout the country after major opposition candidate
probably Russian name.
Svetlana Talana Tishkovskaya. I tried.
These are so difficult names.
Rejected the results. 7 days later, the largest political march in Belarusian history takes place with an estimate of 300,000 people in Minsk and 200,000 in other Belarusian cities and towns.
Then August 10th, COVID-19 number of confirmed cases passes 20 million worldwide. And then the very next day, the Russian President Vladimir Putin announces that Russia has approved the world's first COVID-19 vaccine. Back in August? Really?
It's Russia.
That's fair.
Ugh.
Anyway.
Israel and the UAE agreed to normalize relations, marking the third Israel-Arab peace deal. The Japanese bulk carrier Wakashiro, which stranded on the reef of the Mauritius last month, breaks in half. Approximately 1,000 tons of oil are spilled into the ocean, becoming the largest environmental disaster in the history of Mauritius.
So they're trying to tell us that a boat,
yep.
a big water car, just broke in half.
On a reef.
It just breaks in half.
Yep.
Anyway, August 18th, a mutiny in a military base by soldiers of the Malian armed forces develops into a coup d'etat. That's French. I can't read it. Coup d'etat. President Ibrahim, last names, and Prime Minister Boubou Sisi, among other senior government and military officers, are arrested. The next day, Keita announces his resignation on state television.
Well,
He's just like, okay, things went bad. I'm done.
I'm done
here. He pulled a Nixon. I resign.
The Special Tribunal of Lebanon convicts in absentia Salam Asha, the senior member of the Hezbollah, I tried, in the 2005 assassination of the former prime minister. Okay, then.
Cool. Then 3 days later, I think that was the biggest gap in a long time. August 22nd, the worldwide death toll from COVID exceeds 800,000. We're almost at 1 million.
August 23rd, Bayern Munich or München, if that is German, wins the 2019 to 2020 UEFA Champions League, beating Paris Saint-Germain in the final.
August 25th, Africa is declared free of wild polio, the second virus to be eradicated from the continent since smallpox 40 years previously. That took a while, but that's pretty good.
They
Polio's
did good for you, Africa.
They cleared up their
Amazon
pandemic.
CEO Jeff Bezos becomes the first person in history to have a net worth exceeding US $200 billion, according to Forbes.
And we're going to move on because I don't want to talk about Jeff Bezos anymore. August 27th, Hurricane Laura makes landfall in Lake Charles, Louisiana, with winds of 150 miles per hour, making it the strongest hurricane to ever strike the state in terms of wind speed, tied with the 1856 Last Island hurricane. Weren't there like 3 hurricanes this year? Last year?
There were 2 that came out at the same time.
Yeah.
August 28th. Brain, 28th. My brain was like 2020. Well, shit. Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. Abe. I'm going with Abe. The longest-serving prime minister in the history of Japan announces his resignation from office, citing ill health.
And then August 30th, the last day of August, the number of confirmed cases of COVID-19 passes 25 million worldwide. India continues to record the highest daily increase of cases. So they're number 1 in increases, and we're number 1 in cases.
They're number 1 in death, I think.
We're number 1 in something. Not something good, but...
No.
September.
Sudanese Prime Minister Abdallah Hamdok and
Abdulaziz Ahilu?
I'm so sorry for these names that we have terribly butchered.
We are American and stupid.
The leader of the Sudan People Liberation Movement North signed an agreement to transition the country into a secular state. The agreement comes 3 days after the signing of the peace deal between the Sudan's transitional government and the Sudan Revolutionary Front, to which the SPLMN opt out of. Weeks later, on October 3rd, the transitional government signed a peace deal with the main rebel groups, including the Sudan People's Liberation Movement North, which had refused to engage in previous talks.
And the skeletons of 200 mammoths and 30 other animals are unearthed at a construction site for the Mexico City Santa Lucia Airport. It is the largest find of mammoth bones to date, surpassing the mammoth site in the U.S., which had 61 skeletons. That's like a lot more. I don't want to do math. I'm too tired right now. But then on September 4th, Pope Benedict 16th? I can't read Roman numerals.
16th.
Becomes the longest-lived pope at 93 years and 4 months and 16 days, surpassing Pope Leo the 13th, who died in 1903.
The La Linea Highway Tunnel, the longest road tunnel in South America, at the length of 8.65 kilometers, 5.37 miles, is opened in Colombia after 14 years of construction and several delays.
A 5.37 mile tunnel called The Line. Kosovo and Serbia announced that they will normalize economic relations. The two countries will also move their Israeli embassies to Jerusalem, becoming the third and fourth countries to recognize Jerusalem as Israel's capital. And then Bahrain and Israel agreed to normalize relations, making the fourth Israel-Arab peace deal.
We had 2 peace deals in 1 year.
2 peace deals on the same day, I think. Yeah, September 4th. And then September 6th.
The typhoon Haisen makes landfall on Japan and then South Korea as a strong Category 2 equivalent typhoon. It later makes landfall on North Korea, where widespread flood occurs.
Then September 14th, the Royal Astronomical Society announces declaration of phosphine in Venus's atmosphere, which is known to be a strong predictor for the presence of microbial life. That's also pretty cool in science.
The first discovery of the perfectly preserved remains of a cave bear believed to be 22,000 to to 39,500 years old.
That's
Is made in the Lakosky Islands, Siberia, in the thawing permafrost.
That's one old bear.
Yep.
September 16th, United Nations Human Rights Council fact-finding mission formally accuses the Venezuelan government of crimes against humanity, including cases of killings, torture, violence against political opposition, and disappearances since 2014. President Nicolas Maduro and other senior Venezuelan officials are among these impacted in the charges.
Yoshihide Suga becomes the new
Prime Minister
of Japan, replacing Shizo Abe.
Eventful, unimportant.
Important in
Probably.
Japan, I guess. My brain is just...
Yeah.
How did all of this happen in a year?
This was 1 year, and we're still in September. Anywho, September 17th, France, Germany, and the UK issue a
joint note verbal to the United Nations rejecting China's claims to the South China Sea. The supporting the ruling of the Philippines versus China that said the historical rights per the 9-dash line ran counter to the United Nations Convention of the Law of the Sea. However, the statement says that on territorial sovereignty they take no position.
And then the COVID-19 pandemic, the number of confirmed cases passes 30 million worldwide.
September 19th, the 1634 edition of the Two Noble Kinsmen, the last play by the English playwright William Shakespeare, is discovered at the Royal Scots College Library in Salamanca, Spain. It is to believe the oldest copy of any of his works in the country.
September 20th, BuzzFeed News in the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists released the FinCEN files, a collection of 2,657 documents relating to the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, describing over 200,000 suspicious transactions valued at over $2 trillion that occurred from 1999 to 2017 across multiple global financial institutions. That sounds very Snowden-like.
Yep. September 21st, Microsoft agrees to buy the video game holding company ZeniMax Media, including Bethesda. I can't pronounce...
It's Fallout and Skyrim. How do you...
Because I don't read the fucking who makes them.
Anyway, they bought it for $7.5 billion in what is the biggest and most expensive takeover in the history of the video game industry.
Yep.
And a lot of nerds were happy that Bethesda got taken over.
I was actually mad, but whatever. The deadly crashes erupt in Nagorno-Karabakh between Armenian and
Azerbaijan. Whatever.
We tried. Forces Armenia and Azerbaijan and the Republic of Artsakh to introduce martial law and mobilize forces.
And then, September 29th, the worldwide death toll from COVID-19 exceeded 1 million, and the Emir of Kuwait, Sheikh Sabah al-Sabah, dies at 91. Crown Prince Nawaf al-Ahmad al-Jabir al-Sabah is named his successor. And September's over, into October 1st.
Into October. Whoa.
There's not a lot.
How is this a year?
How is this a year? The EU began legal proceedings against the UK after it ignored their deadline to drop controversial sections from its international market bill.
October 5th, COVID pandemic. The number of confirmed cases for COVID-19 passes 35 million worldwide. The news concedes with the World Health Organization's estimate that the total worldwide cases may be around 760 million, roughly a tenth of the global population.
Wow. October 10th, Armenia and Azerbaijan agree on a ceasefire in the ongoing whatever conflict.
October 15th, the
Thai protest. This is what you were talking about.
The 2020 Thai protest. The government of Thailand decrees a severe state of emergency, banning gatherings of 5 or more people, initiating a crackdown of demonstrations and imposing media censorship. Now, I actually follow a lot of people from Thailand, and this wouldn't be bad if they weren't spraying people with basically pepper spray in the streets.
Cool.
Like, more police brutality!
I'm just remembering... this is the political portion. Just kidding.
Mm-hmm.
The entire portion's political.
This has all been political.
This has been factual, not political. It's been talking about the things.
Yeah.
But I'm just remembering a video I saw back during the Floyd protests where a guy just chilling on the front lines of the people, just peacefully standing and shouting, like, or not shouting, but like, police are not all that great in doing the. He's not doing it. He's not saying anything completely terrible. He is just wearing his mask, has his phone out, and just reading off stuff that things that he was going to read. Mm-hmm. And a cop walks up, pulls his mask down, and pepper sprays him in the face. And that image is burned into my head, and it's never going to leave.
The image that was always burned in my head when it came to the protests was, my mom had actually gone to one. I refused to go to one mainly due to the COVID pandemic. Mm-hmm. If there wasn't the pandemic going on, oh hell yeah, I would have been at those fucking protests.
100%.
But there was a pandemic going on, and my mother's high risk, so I wasn't about to risk it.
Yeah.
But
anyway, following that
there was literally, I saw this girl who I actually knew, and I don't discriminate against skin color ever. Mm-hmm. And it was a friend of mine who sadly happens to be an African-American woman. And she's being protected by this very tall white man who has his arms in front of her at the police officers like, you want her? Get through me. Mm-hmm. And it's like, that's white privilege being used correctly. Mm-hmm. People.
That's how you do it.
Anyways, the president of Kyrgyzstan, Soronbay Jeenbekov, resigns from the office after weeks of massive protest in the wake of the October 2020 preliminary election. The opposition leader Sidar Japarov assumes office as both acting president and the prime minister of Kyrgyzstan. Am I the only one noticing that anytime we have an election this year,
things go bad?
No, the person that wins is the person with the smaller name.
Cool. Anyway.
Sorry, that was just something that was bothering me.
No, you're not wrong.
2020... October 17th, 2020, New Zealand. General election. Jakard Amar's Labour Party wins a landslide second term in office, defeating the National Party led by Judith Collins, gaining the country's first preliminary majority since the introduction of the MMP voting system.
October 19th, number of confirmed cases passes 40 million, and these are confirmed, not definite. Or not, they're the ones that are reported and confirmed, which is why earlier they were saying there was probably 700 million. Then on the 20th, NASA's Orisis REX spacecraft. Orsis?
No,
anyway.
Osiris.
Osiris.
Sorry.
Oh, right. I can't read.
OSIRIS REX spacecraft briefly touches down on Bennu, becoming the agency's first probe to retrieve samples from an asteroid within its cargo due to return to Earth in 2023.
And then October 22nd, the Geneva Consensus Declaration on Promoting Women's Health and Strengthening the Family is signed by government representatives from 34 countries.
October 23rd,
whatever.
At the end of an 11-year demining process, the Falkland Islands have declared free of island mines after 38 years after the end of the 1982 war. Israel and Sudan agreed to normalize relations, making this the fifth Israel-Arab peace deal. We have had three
peace deals, somehow.
In 1 year.
And yet the world's more divided than ever. Wonder why. October 26th, NASA confirms the existence of molecular water on the sunlit side of the moon near the Calvus crater, and concentrations up to 412 parts per million.
There's water on the moon.
Yeah.
But there's no atmosphere, so.
Water on the moon, no atmosphere. Can't move there yet. Sorry, moon
people.
Truthers? I don't know. Moon
The
people?
I don't know.
They prefer to be called the Lunars. Anyway, October 29th.
The International Organization of Migration confirms the death of at least 140 migrants who drowned off the coast of Senegal on a vessel bound for the Spanish Canary Islands. It is the deadliest shipwreck of 2020 so far.
October 30th, the 2020 Aegean Sea earthquake, a magnitude 7 earthquake, hits Turkey and Greece, killing 119 people and injuring over 1,000. And the number of confirmed cases passes 45 million worldwide.
October 31st, Typhoon Goni makes landfall in the Philippines, becoming the strongest landfalling tropical cyclone in history, displacing hundreds and thousands of people and killing dozens of people in the region.
All right, we're into the last 2 months.
We're into November.
Might speed this up just a little bit, but November 1st, the Moldovan presidential election takes place. And then on the 3rd, the United States presidential election. Joe Biden is elected as the 46th president of the United States after remaining vote counts November 7th come in from key states delayed by an influx of mail-in ballots caused by the pandemic, defeating the incumbent president, Donald Trump, who
refuses to leave the White House.
Honestly, I'm not going to try and be political here, but if you lose an election and then continuously, to this day, deny the outcome and also sue the states that didn't vote for you, you are childish. I don't give a shit. And not even election, in a thing, and then you decide to sue the people that let the other person win. That's not how a civilized debate works. That's not...
I will always find it funny that the only state that even decided to play around with the lawsuits was Wisconsin, and they wound up with more
Yep.
votes for Joe Biden.
A great thing is, it's like, do a recount. Okay, there's more votes for Joe. Just kidding. Stop counting. Also, just a great summary of that whole thing is just shut up, man.
Just stop.
Jesus.
If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all. Mm-hmm. Anyways, Hurricane Eta makes landfall in I can't pronounce that.
Nicaragua.
I've never seen Nicaragua spelled before.
Anywho.
Killing over 100 people in Central America as a Category 4. November 4th. The United States formally exits the Paris Agreement on climate change.
Climate change isn't real. Just kidding, it is. Don't listen to people that say it's fake because it's not fake.
Frickin' the planet.
We're dying.
We've destroyed the planet.
No, the planet's going to be fine. The people are fucked.
Yeah. COVID-19 pandemic. The number of confirmed cases have passed 50 million worldwide.
Then November 9th, the first successful Phase 3 trial of COVID-19 vaccine is announced by drug companies Pfizer and BioNTech, which is 90% effective according to interim results. And 2020 Nagorno-Karabakh War, Armenia and Azerbaijan sign a Russian-brokered ceasefire agreement.
November 11th, COVID-19 pandemic. The Sputnik 5 vaccine is proven 92% effective against COVID-19 in interim results.
Aren't you part Russian?
I'm part Belarusian Russian.
You're something.
Anyways, November 12th, Hong Kong democracy lawmakers resign en masse in response to the 4 lawmakers' disqualifications made by the government.
November 15th, the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, or RCEP, is signed by 15 Asia-Pacific countries to form the world's largest free trade bloc, covering a third of the world's population, and NASA and SpaceX launched the SpaceX Crew 1 mission from Kennedy Space Launch Complex 39A to the ISS, the first operational flight of the Crew Dragon capsule.
November 16th, COVID pandemic. Moderna's mRNA vaccine has proven to be 94% effective against COVID-19, in interim results including several illnesses. The vaccine has been cited as being amongst those that are easier to distribute as no ultra-cold storage is required. Mm-hmm. Hurricane Iota. We've gone from
9 hurricanes.
We've gone from names to Greek alphabet. Makes landfall in Nicaragua as a Category 4 hurricane 2 weeks after Hurricane Eta made landfall, devastating the same area.
That is not great.
I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing in disbelief.
Yeah. Again, not to make light of it. Things are terrible, but just why and how?
These 2 days are COVID related.
Yeah.
So November 17th, the number of confirmed cases of COVID passed 55 million worldwide, with around 1 million cases reported every 2 days on average. And then November 18th, the Pfizer and biotech complete trials on the COVID-19 vaccine with an overall effectiveness rating of 95% without adverse events.
Then November 19th, we're going to speed this up a little bit more. Breton report in Australia crimes during the war in Afghanistan is released, and Shugi Bain and Douglas Stewart wins the 2020 Broker Prize.
The United States in November
November 22nd.
November 22nd, the United States withdraws from the Treaty on Open Skies.
November 23rd, I can't read.
AstraZeneca AZD 2022 vaccine developed in collaboration with Oxford University showed a 75% effective in protecting against COVID-19. The efficiency can be raised to 90 if after the initial dose is followed by a full dose a month later based on interim data. COVID-19 is of November 25th. The number of confirmed cases passes 60 million worldwide. November 27th, Iran's top nuclear scientist Mohsen
Fakhrizadeh
was assassinated near Tehran. Not Tehran. It's not Tehran.
November 28th, the Khashoggi massacre. I remember hearing about this. Boko Haram jihadists attack a farm in Nigeria, killing at least 43 people.
November 30th, the prenumbral lunar eclipse occurs, the last of the 4 lunar eclipses in 2020. Protein folding is one of the biggest mysteries in biology. It is solved by AlphaFold, an artificial intelligence algorithm developed by DeepMind. The Mondia cases, this is back to COVID. Mondia files of application of emergency use authorization in the United States after its vaccine achieved the effective 94.1% from full trials without safety concerns, is also in plans to do the same in the EU. Which, funny enough, the vaccine is meant to start here in Ohio.
Huh, I did not know that. Starts in Ohio. Then now we're on to December, the final month. The last stretch.
We're on the final stretch!
Yep. Announced, Pfizer and BioNTech announced an emergency use author application of European Medicines Agency, and the Arecibo telescope of the Arecibo Observatory collapses. I do remember that.
I remember seeing it collapse.
Just weeks after the announcement of its planned demolition. It didn't fall apart. It was a rapid, unscheduled deconstruction.
Yeah. December 2nd, COVID-19. The United Kingdom approves of Pfizer's biotech BNT162b2 vaccine, the first in the country and the world to do so. 3 activists in Hong Kong were jailed for their roles in the 2019 to 2020 Hong Kong protests, with Joshua Wong getting the heaviest at 13.5 months.
December 3rd, the UN Commission on Narcotic Drugs votes to remove cannabis from a list of dangerous drugs in recognition of its medical value, although some controls will remain. Huh. Neat.
COVID pandemic. The number of confirmed cases of COVID has exceeded 65 million worldwide, with the global death toll exceeding 1.5 million. Figures reflect that in the last week, over 10,000 people worldwide have died on average every day, with 1 death every 9 seconds.
Wait. That's someone.
Yep.
Someone just died.
According to the World Health Organization, COVID-19 has caused more deaths in 2020 than tuberculosis in 2019, as well as 4 times the number of deaths than malaria. Somalian civil war. The United States announced its withdrawal from the conflict over the next month. Are we really withdrawing from all of the wars we were in that we didn't need to be involved in?
It's time to social distance. December 5th, Russia begins mass vaccination against COVID-19 with the Sputnik 5 candidate, and December 6th, the 2020 Venezuelan preliminary election takes place.
December 8th, COVID-19. The United Kingdom becomes the first nation to begin mass inoculation campaign using the locally authorized, fully tested vaccine.
Tozanamarin?
Nepal and China
got that right the
officially
first try.
agree on Mount Everest's actual height.
Really? Really? December 9th, you decide to say, you know what? Is Mount Everest actually that high? Speaking of how high it is, apparently it's 8,848.86 meters.
December 10th, the United States and Saudi Arabia approve of the Thorazamine for emergency use, while Argentina approves of the Sputnik 5. Western Sahara conflicts, the Arab-Israeli conflict, Israel and Morocco normalized diplomatic relations. Simultaneously, the U.S. confirms its previous recognition of the Moroccan sovereignty over the Western Sahara and announces its plans to build a consulate there. France and the end of the Nicolas Sarkozy corruption trial.
December 11th, European Union agrees to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 55% over the next decade. Low bar. And December 12th, the number of confirmed cases passes 70 million worldwide, and Bhutan and Israel normalized diplomatic relations.
So this year for Israel has just become the year of normalizing diplomatic relations.
Israel is just becoming nice.
Israel's always been nice. They've been attacked.
Oh, you're right. I don't remember.
The United States and Canada begin mass vaccination of Thorazepam. Sudan, United States release. The United States removes Sudan from its list of state sponsors of terrorism. Turkey and the United States place sanctions on Turkey in relation to the purchase of S-400 missile systems from Russia. The first time they have sanctioned a NATO ally. A total solar eclipse is visible in parts of South Pacific Ocean and the southern South America and the South Atlantic Ocean.
And the next 4 days were the International Criminal Court accuses the Philippines of crimes against humanity and its war on drugs. The United States formally designates Switzerland and Vietnam as being currency manipulators. The number of confirmed cases passes 75 million worldwide, and a new, highly infectious new strain of SARS spreading in Europe and Australia provokes international border closures, as if they weren't already closed.
They're starting to open again.
Yeah. December 21st.
36 cases reported to the base General Bernardo O'Higgins Requiem of the Chilean Antarctic territory, marking the first infections in Antarctica.
The last continent to report infections. It's officially worldwide.
How the hell did it get to Antarctica?
Boat. I don't know.
A great conjecture of Jupiter and Saturn occurs when the two planets separated in the sky by 0.1 degrees.
I also
This is the closest conjunction between the two planets since the 1623.
I mean, of course I didn't see it because it's always overcast.
Space.
It's overcast all the fucking time.
It's overcast here.
And light pollution.
The United Kingdom and the European Union agree to comprehensive free trade agreement prior to the end of the transitional period. COVID-19 pandemic. The number of confirmed cases is 80 million worldwide.
Then December 29th, the Petrina earthquake with a magnitude of 6.4 strikes Croatia, killing 7 and injuring more than 20.
The COVID-19 pandemic in the United Kingdom approves of the Arizan Oxford vaccine, the second one available. The vaccine is easier to store, and it only requires a normal fridge temperatures, making the distribution easier. December 31st, the transition period of the United Kingdom exit of the European Union on the 31st of January 2020 expires.
And the final insult of 2020, Adobe Flash Player was officially released for the last time. And that was it.
We ended the year ended on such a weird note
with just Flash Player just shutting down.
We end on a weird note where we get vaccines that have been approved and work well, only for a new, stronger strand of it.
Stronger of something else to
come out.
Yeah, that's. Oh, God.
Why is that our life?
Why is it?
Wait, no, I'm pretty sure this is a new. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is
it's SARS. It's not COVID.
No, it is. The virus that causes the COVID. The variant first detected. It is another form, a worse form of COVID.
Doomed. We're doomed. But to everything that's gone wrong this year, and everyone that we've lost, notable and personal. let's hope things get better.
Whatever God you pray to.
Whatever God you pray to, even if you don't pray to one, whatever side you follow, whether you're red or blue or green or purple or black or white.
Who cares?
Who cares?
We all bleed.
Living.
We all bleed red. We're all living, and we all have people we care about. So let's try.
Vulcans don't bleed red. The nerds are gonna be mad at that. See,
live long and prosper.
Live long and prosper. live fast, die young, leave a beautiful corpse. Whatever you believe, just
be safe.
Be safe. Be smart. Don't just go out and spread stuff that you can't confirm.
Let's not
deny.
make 2021 another 2020 where there's another list that is a mile long.
And hey, to end a great note to end on. Hindsight is 2020.
No! I hate you so much.
But yeah,
I think I blew out the mic.
who cares? Whatever. Yeah, check back next week.
Check back next Friday, where we will actually be
every Friday.
Every Friday.
Every Friday, 12 Central, 1 Eastern, and check Patreon, YouTube, Twitter. We'll be doing much more.
We'll definitely be more lighthearted next Friday.
Oh yeah.
This was.
Oh yeah. What could I'm gonna regret saying?
Don't even.
What could
No.
possibly happen within 1 week?
God damn it!
Knock on wood.
You had to say it.
I had to.
Why?
Anyway. Goodbye.